Welcome once again, my dear students. This is Mahou Sultanaki, Senior Lecturer of Maliston College, Department of Biology. You are welcome to our online classes. Today, I will discuss two creative questions from Chapter 4. By this time, you have already known, it is known to all of you that in your revised syllabus, Chapter 4 is selected. So, we will discuss today two creative questions from this chapter so that you can answer this chapter easily. Now, first of all, the stem. In this stem, you can see that C6H12O6, which is reacting with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and another component E. It is a compound E which is indicating something, and I know that all of you know that the E indicates the energy. How you can understand that E indicate energy? Because when carbohydrate is oxidized with the help of oxygen, that is respiration. Now, the first question is, what is photosynthesis? The biochemical process through which the green plants produce carbohydrate types of food in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll from water and carbon dioxide, and that is called photosynthesis. Now, question number B. Explain the rate of photosynthesis in young leaves. You know, the age of leaf, it also influences the rate of photosynthesis. In too young or too old leaves, the rate of photosynthesis is low. Now, you are asked to write the rate of photosynthesis in young leaves. In case of young leaves, the rate of photosynthesis is definitely low. Why? The rate of photosynthesis in the young leaves is very low because the chlorophyll is not well formed. So, hence the rate of amount of chlorophyll is less in young leaves. That is why, and the rate of photosynthesis is dependent on chloroplast or the amount of chloroplast. That is why the rate of photosynthesis is comparatively less in young leaves. Okay. Next question. Explain the steps of formation of E in the cytoplasmic organelle. My dear students, you know this is the process which is known as respiration, and in respiration it has 4 steps: glycolysis, formation of acetyl-CoA, Krebs cycle, and electron transport system. Now, in this question, you are asked to write the steps of formation of E. E means the energy. The steps of formation of E in the cytoplasmic organelle. You are asked to write the 2 steps that takes place in the cytoplasmic organelle, that means in the mitochondria. Because among these 4 steps, glycolysis, formation of acetyl-CoA, the first 2 steps takes place in the cytoplasm. But the next 2 steps, that is Krebs cycle and electron transport system, those 2 cycles take place in the mitochondria. So the organelle is mitochondria. Then how you will write the answer? You will first write, in the above stem, E indicates energy. The energy that is produced and the organelle that is mentioned here is mitochondria. Then you will write the 2 steps that are taking place in mitochondria. They are known as Krebs cycle and electron transport system. Then, first of all, you will explain the Krebs cycle. What is Krebs cycle, or what are the steps of Krebs cycle? The Krebs cycle is the 3rd phase of respiration. This cycle is named after the biochemist Hans Krebs. In this cycle, from 1 molecule of acetyl-CoA, then the acetyl-CoA, from 1 molecule of acetyl-CoA that enters into the mitochondria and takes part in Krebs cycle. And after some chemical reactions, it produces 3 molecule of NADH2, 1 molecule of FADH2, 1 molecule of GTP, and 2 molecule of carbon dioxide. So from 2 molecule of acetyl-CoA, it produces 6 molecule of NADH2, 2 molecule of FADH2, 2 molecule of GTP and 4 molecule of carbon dioxide. The next step of Krebs cycle is electron transport system. Now, electron transport system, that step of respiration is also takes place in the mitochondria. So what happens, or what are the steps that takes place during this electron transport system? The NADH2, FADH2, those are produced during the above 3 steps, are oxidized in this step and produce ATP, high energy containing electron, proton and water. Now, the high energy containing electron that passes through the electron transport system and it produces high energy. That energy is used to produce ATP. This cycle also takes place in the mitochondria. So my dear students, you will explain these 2 steps below when you will answer question number C. The next question is D. The above mentioned process is indirectly dependent on sunlight analysis. I have already told you that the above mentioned process indicates respiration. But you know that photosynthesis is dependent on light or sunlight. But respiration is not directly dependent on the sunlight, but it is indirectly dependent on sunlight. How? During photosynthesis, the energy is captured, the solar energy is captured from the sunlight and transform it into chemical energy. So the kinetic energy or the chemical energy is converted into potential energy. If the potential energy is not found in the cell or cell of plants or animals, then it wouldn't be possible to take part in cellular respiration for any cell or any plant or any animals. Okay. So sunlight is playing an important role for respiration only. Next, another point in the when you will learn the factors of respiration, in that case you will also find that the sunlight plays another role in respiration. How? In presence of sunlight, the stomata of the leaves remain open during the daytime. Though respiration takes place both during the day and night through the 24 hours, but during daytime, hence the stomata remain open due to the presence of sunlight. At that time, the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen is faster than that of the or higher than that of the night. And the carbon dioxide, the oxygen is a raw material of this respiration process. Hence, the amount of oxygen will remain available during the opening of stomata. That is why it can take part in the reaction with carbohydrate, and the rate of respiration will be higher. Thus, the sunlight plays a very important role indirectly in the respiration process. So my dear students, this is all for creative question number 1. Now creative question number 2. In this step you can see that 6 carbon dioxide plus 12 water. There is an arrow on the above the arrow there is light, then beneath the arrow there is chlorophyll, carbohydrate, water and carbon dioxide. You can understand it easily whether it is photosynthesis or respiration. How? You know that during photosynthesis the catalysts are light and chlorophyll, and the raw materials are carbon dioxide and water. From the left portion of the stem you can easily understand whether it is photosynthesis or respiration. Now come to the point. The first question is, what is respiration? The biochemical process through which the carbohydrate types of food materials is oxidized in presence of different enzymes and coenzymes and produce carbon dioxide, water, and large amount of energy. You can see in this system also carbon, oxygen and water is produced, and this is the symbol of photosynthesis that oxygen is producing. But in case of respiration, carbon dioxide is produced after the reaction. Okay. So the definition is the biochemical process through which carbohydrate types of food materials is oxidized with the help of oxygen and in presence of different enzymes and coenzymes and produce carbon dioxide and large amount of energy is known as respiration. Now, question number D. Write down 4 differences in between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. You know, there are 2 types of respiration. One is aerobic, another one is anaerobic. Now, aerobic respiration. You are asked to write 4 differences. It is for 2 marks. First of all, the respiration process which takes place in presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. The respiration process which takes place in absence of oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration takes place in higher organisms, and anaerobic respiration takes place in some lower organisms such as bacteria, yeast, etc. Then, in case of aerobic respiration, the amount of energy is higher, that is 38 ATP or 686 kilocalorie energy. In case of anaerobic respiration, 2 ATP is produced and or the amount of energy is 56 kilocalorie energy or kilojoule energy. Okay. Then, in case of aerobic respiration, the product is 38 ATP, 6 molecule of carbon dioxide and 6 molecule of water. But in case of anaerobic respiration, the products are either ethanol, 2 molecule of ethanol and 2 molecule of carbon dioxide or 2 molecule of lactic acid. So my dear students, these are the 4 differences among the or in between the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Now, question number C. How does ATP and NADPH2 is produced in the above mentioned process? You can see ATP and NADPH2. These 2 are energy containing compounds, and you know that ATP is known as biological coil. Hence it stores energy, okay, and in necessity it provides organism with higher energy. Now, you know, I have told you that this is the process of photosynthesis, and photosynthesis process is divided into 2 phases. One is light dependent phase, another one is light independent phase. So my dear students, during light dependent phase, this ATP and NADPH2 is produced. How? During light dependent phase or for light dependent phase, light is essential. In this phase, solar energy and chlorophyll or sunlight and chlorophyll plays a very important role. In this phase, ATP and NADPH2 are produced. In this process, the solar energy is converted into chemical energy with the help of chlorophyll. The chlorophyll absorbs photon from the sunlight, and the energy that is obtained by absorbing photon from the sunlight is used to produce ATP by combining ADP, which is known as adenosine diphosphate, with inorganic phosphate. It produces ATP. This process is called photophosphorylation. So, what happens next? After that, this photophosphorylation, the water that is taking part in photosynthesis, it is broken down and produce oxygen, electron and proton. The electron reduces the NADP. Electron reduces NADP, and by reducing NADP, electron helps to produce NADPH2. The process through which water is broken down, this water is broken down into oxygen, hydrogen and electron, that is called photolysis of water. which also takes place in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Now, ATP is produced during photophosphorylation, and after that NADPH2 is reduced with the help of electron and produce NADPH2. These two components or the process of producing ATP and NADPH2 is called assimilatory power. Now the last question is, analyze the role of different factors on the above mentioned process. My dear students, as I have told you, the given process is of photosynthesis, and in case of both photosynthesis and respiration, you know there are two factors. One is external factor, another one is internal factor. In this question, you are asked to write the factors that control the photosynthesis process. So it has two factors, the external factors and the internal factors. The external factors are light, carbon dioxide, temperature, water, oxygen, mineral, nutrient elements, and some chemical substances. So, my dear students, these are external factors of photosynthesis. Now, I would like to explain these factors. First of all, light. Light plays a very important role during photosynthesis because in presence of sunlight, the stomata remain open first of all. Then the sunlight, the chlorophyll absorbs the photon from the sunlight, and only the green plants or the chloroplasts can absorb this or convert this solar energy to chemical energy. So sunlight plays an important role, and the intensity of light and in a particular optimum level of light, the rate of photosynthesis remain satisfactory. Then carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is, you can see that, is a raw material of photosynthesis. So if the amount of carbon dioxide increases in the atmosphere, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. In the atmosphere, the amount of carbon dioxide is 0.03%, and can use up to 1% concentration of carbon dioxide. So the rate of photosynthesis remain normal up to 1% of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Next, temperature. It is also an important factor of photosynthesis. Below 22 degrees Celsius temperature, the rate of photosynthesis is less, and above 45 degrees Celsius temperature, the rate of photosynthesis is also less. There is an optimum temperature of photosynthesis. In between these, the rate of photosynthesis is satisfactory, that is 22 to 35 degrees Celsius. Then, water. Water is another raw materials of photosynthesis. So, if the amount of water is remain available, the rate of photosynthesis will be satisfactory or will be small. In scarcity of water, the photosynthesis may be ceased. Oxygen. If the amount of oxygen, atmospheric oxygen, is higher, then the rate of photosynthesis will be lower, because it is one of the product of photosynthesis. So, if the rate of photosynthesis will be low, the rate of oxygen will be low in the atmosphere, the rate of photosynthesis will be higher. Next point, mineral nutrient element. You know that nitrogen and magnesium plays a vital role or an important role. These are the two main components of chloroplast. So, if these types of nutrient element will be available, or it will be in optimum level. It will help in the synthesis of chloroplast, and the rate of photosynthesis will be higher. And last of all, chemical substances. There are different types of chemical substances such as chloroform, then hydrogen sulfide, or methane, or other gases which hinders the rate of photosynthesis. So my dear student, these are all these 7 points are the external factors of photosynthesis. Now the internal factors of photosynthesis. So what are the internal factors? The factors that remain present in the plants are known as internal factors, which control the rate of photosynthesis. Now I would like to write the factors, name of those factors that are the internal factors. Number 1, chlorophyll. Number 2 is N. Number of leaves, amount of carbohydrate, then number 4, potassium, Now, first of all, chlorophyll. As I have told you, chlorophyll plays a very important role in photosynthesis. So, in presence of chlorophyll, the rate of photosynthesis will be higher. And the second point is a number of leaves. In two young leaves or two old leaves or the aged leaves, two aged leaves, the rate of photosynthesis is low. Now what will happen, or in which types of leaf the rate of photosynthesis is highest? In mature leaves, the rate of photosynthesis will be highest. So why in case of aged leaves or the young leaves the rate of photosynthesis is low? Because the chloroplast is not well formed, or the chloroplast that was formed are destroyed or disintegrated. That is why in two aged leaves the rate of photosynthesis is low. The number of leaves, if the number of leaves also higher, then the rate of photosynthesis will also be lower. Then amount of carbohydrate. You know, if the amount of carbohydrate is higher in any leaves, then the rate of photosynthesis will be lower, because you can see that the carbohydrate is one of the product during photosynthesis. So during evening the rate of photosynthesis becomes low. Why? At that time the accumulation of carbohydrate in the leaves occurs. That is why the rate becomes slow. Next, potassium. The rate of photosynthesis is also dependent on the amount of potassium present in leaves. If the amount of potassium is less in the leaves, then it will make the photosynthesis process low. Okay, so potassium plays an important role. There is another reason, that is potassium is one of the part of nutrient elements which helps to synthesis chloroplast. You know that. Okay, and the last point is enzymes. There are several enzymes which are required for the process of photosynthesis. So my dear students, I think I can cover, or I can make it clear, I could make it clear to all of you how you will answer these types of creative questions which are given by equations. So this is all from my today's lecture. In my next class I will be back with a new lesson or with some more creative questions. Till then, take care and stay safe.